was a queen. She lived in Queens.
Hi, lovelies. I am Queen Lovely. Welcome back to Melanated Crowns. And if this is your first time, welcome. So I wanted to come on here today and do a video about women that are 40 and up that appear to be trying to compete with younger women that's in their 20s and their teens and trying to merge into this hypersexual culture of, the whole Instagram model, stripper, bottle girl thing. So before we get into that, make sure you hit the thumbs up and make sure you comment below. The engagement helps us get into the algorithm so that more people can see this video. So this is something that I've spoken about quite a few times, but I'm just going to dedicate a video to it. So I remember when the True Kitchen and Cocktail situation happened, where the man had basically yelled at those black women who were standing on his furniture, planting their hands on his glass and twerking. And, people were pretty divided on that situation because people tried to say that him telling those women not to twerk was basically a result of anti-blackness. And you had people such as myself and other commentators and spectators that was like, well, when did blackness become synonymous with being uncouth, lacking decorum, and just being all around ghetto and ratchet? And it was a debate that just really put a lot of things into perspective for me. And it basically just kind of showed me where we are as a society and where we will be heading. So as you know, I'm into esoterical and spiritual stuff such as, tarot readings, divination, astrology. And I'm not a professional astrologer, but I do keep up with transits. And right now we're currently in the midst of a transit. Uranus, the planet Uranus, is in the sign of Taurus. And this transit, if I'm not mistaken, has been happening since 2017. And this is really going to continue to push society in this way where a lot of things surrounding sexuality and who exudes it and who performs it and how it's exuded and how it's performed are going to be more and more prevalent in the upcoming timelines. I feel like Uranus will be in Taurus until about 2025. I could be wrong because I think it'll be there for 7 years. But these conversations are going to continue to happen, and we may even see a deeper divide because we are in the age of Aquarius. So that already is, putting people in this mind state of, well, who's to say that I should act like this and I should present like this? Like, why am I following this code of conduct? And, Saturn being in Aquarius for the next 2 years, we're really going to see a lot of things come into question. So I just wanted to say that. Here's my opinion, okay? And the name of this video is The Truth About Women That's in Their 40s and Up Trying to Relive Their Youth. I think what happens is, and somebody said this in one of my previous videos in the comments, a lot of people associate desirability and sexuality with youth. And a lot of us are programmed to do that because of the society we live in. Unfortunately, it's like with women, we have an expiration date. Once we become a mom, sometimes once we become a wife, once we hit 30, 35 years old, it's like society likes to perpetuate this narrative that we're damaged goods and it's on to the next. Now, here on Melanated Crowns, we're all about the emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being of Black women. And one thing that I'm always encouraging and suggesting in a lot of my videos is individuality and getting to a place where you become very confident and firm in who you are as a woman and how you choose to express it. And if you do accomplish this or set your intentions to master this, you kind of learn to observe and not absorb, and you kind of detach from societal rules and physical rules, and you learn to live for yourself and to live for spirit and connect with your higher self on a certain level. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like women that enter their 40s and they start to regress mentally and emotionally, it's because they have unhealed trauma from their teens and from their 20s, and it begins to show and exude in their behavior. And I remember talking to a friend of mine who was also a mentor, and she was telling me, and this person is like in their late 30s, and she was telling me how this woman whom she's been friends with for a very long time, she was considering not being friends with this person anymore. And she was saying because this woman was out and about, having an affair on her husband. Well, she wasn't having an affair on her husband. She was having an affair with a married man and doing all types of things and just being very vindictive. And this person of mine was just basically saying, like, we're in our late 30s. That, you should never do that at any age. But if you are going to reside on that frequency of low vibration and behave like that, that's expected to happen like in your teens and your early 20s, before your emotional intelligence and your ability to discern and process situations really kicks into gear and you have all the tools that you need. And you have a lot of people, and I've been saying this for a while, that try to blur the lines and change the rules and move the goalposts to constantly fit their narratives and the way in which they want to live. And here's the thing. All you can do is do what's best for yourself. That's all you could do. All you can do is really do what's best for yourself. But like I said, what happens is you have these women that's in their 40s that have kids, that have pre-established connections and relationships with people. And you get to a point in your life where it's like, before you make a decision, you have to consider your children. You have to consider your children, because it's one thing when you're in your teens and your 20s and you're living reckless, and the only person that it falls back and blows back on is you, and at worst, your parents or whoever your guardian is or somebody close to you. But once you make a decision to start a family, once you make a decision to start a business or whatever the case may be, you have to consider your employees. You have to consider your friends and people who's connected with you. You have to consider your kids, because your decisions is no longer about you. It's about the people that you hold near and dear to your heart. And it's really unfortunate when I see YouTubers and commentators and stuff that's, well into their 40s, some even knocking at their 50s, that like to applaud behavior that growing up you was taught not to do. And let's just be honest, the only reason why you're applauding this behavior and you're pushing for this behavior to be normalized, because you want to have a free open pass to do it without anybody criticizing you or holding you accountable for being at your big age and behaving like you're in your 20s. Okay? It's no rule where once you hit 30, once you hit 40, you can't twerk, you can't be sexy, you can't talk about sex, you can't do this. But there is a slight expectation that when you start to hit those benchmarks, 35, 40, 45, 50, you done seen enough and lived enough and experienced enough to not have a continuous thirst to continue that behavior. When you find yourself 20 years removed from a certain time period in your life, and you constantly find yourself trying to revisit and recreate and relive that, there's some type of trauma there that you need to address that's attached to that. It's something about that. It's not the going to the club and partying and letting loose. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. It's a vibration that you can recreate in your life. But I would say make it age appropriate. And I know some people are going to say this may be coming across as sexist or ageist, but look at the video that I just posted about the girl twerking for Martin Luther King. These things are being normalized because when you look to the generations before us, they're not giving us the guidance and the wisdom, because they're trying to enter these spaces and compete with these young girls and relive their youth. And they like to dress it up as sexual liberation and freeing myself from being sexualized and so on and so forth. But the reality of the situation is no, you're dealing with some unhealed trauma Okay, you're going to battle with your inner child inside of you, and there has been a stagnancy with your mental and emotional and spiritual development, and it's playing out right before our eyes. So this is not merely in a sense of, well, I'm this age and I'm always going to be sexy and I'm always going to be this. I mean, J-Lo is sexy. Halle Berry is sexy. Felicia Rashad is sexy. Sanaa Lathan, Nia Long, all of these women are beautiful and sexy, and they are like 40 and up. It's not about you, but the way in which they present themselves, the way in which they carry themselves, they still do it with dignity, grace, and class. And the problem is, the Bernice Burgos and whatnot, instead of just putting on a dress and showing us that you're sexy, you want to twerk. You want to have all your ass hanging out. You want to have all your titties hanging out. And then you have young girls that's coming up and thinking, well, this is what I should aspire to be, because these women are in their 40s and 50s and they still act like that. So there should never be a point where I should tone it down or change my approach when it comes to what sexiness means to me. The worst thing that I feel like could have really happened when it comes to the Black female community is we want to support and uplift and show up for our sisters so much and so bad that we are forgetting to hold them accountable. And I feel like the reason why we're forgetting to hold them accountable is because a lot of us associate accountability with punishment. And a lot of people associate punishment with negativity. This is why I always say accountability and empathy can and should exist. You can empathize with someone and nurture them while taking them to task and holding them accountable, because that's how you show someone you love and care about them. And that is what's missing. All of these movements of let's do away with respectability politics and let Black women do this and let Black women do that and victimizing Black women every which way, you are crippling our sisters. You are putting them in a place where they're going to be perpetually stagnated. And once again, coming back to that quote that I read in my last video, it's going to continue to produce the disastrous results for the Black community. And that is it. I don't have much more to say on this situation. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Bye.